So an important thing that you're going to need to learn while using Adobe Illustrator as an airbrush artist is the ability to trace other people's art, your art. Um, Adobe Illustrator is pretty powerful and can do just a lot of tracing features. So we'll go ahead and start by showing you if somebody brought you a business logo that they wanted painted on a sign or a vehicle or whatever. So the easiest way is once you get the file, you just come into your file, place it, or place command, and then find where you saved it, place it. And then it'll bring up your little icon that will have the image on it. And then you can either click and drag or just click. If you just click, it comes in at the whatever size the original was. If you click and drag, it will come in however, whatever size you actually drag it out to. One thing to keep in mind while doing this is the better the image you have, the better results the automatic trace feature is going to have. Sometimes customers are going to give you just really low grade and you will have to go in and hand trace them, but I will show you how to do that as well in later videos, more with drawings and stuff, but the same principles can be used here. But now business logo gave you their cool little, looks like a umbrella businessman type thing, and they want that painted on the side of their trucks. So you just import it in, and then along the top up here, when you have it any kind of raster image brought in and selected, it'll give you the trace options and a few other options up here. If we go to view right now, outline, it just gives you this little cross box which shows that it is a raster image, and the plotter will not cut anything, won't even recognize it as a box. So you got to come up, trace, and it gives you a whole bunch of little defaults. If you just click the button, it'll trace under the default thing, but we want silhouettes. The color of the image and all that kind of matters, but not too much. The main one you want is silhouettes, and the reason why is anything white or light colored it ignores. If we were to go with black and white logo, it would put a line around this part of the umbrella, and then it's also going to put a line around here, so you're going to get a double cut mark around that. By going silhouettes, it changes that. Now it came in and it just traced that whole thing because there was color in it. So up here you got your preset image trace panel. You open that up and grab the advanced options, and it gives you a lot more, and this threshold is where you want to start with. You just bring that back to about 190, 200, maybe more. There, we're starting to get a little bit of image now. Okay, so as you can see at 130 we start getting one, but it's not perfect. Come down, let's try 115. You can also just type numbers in here, but I'm just grabbing the slider and sliding it until I start getting something, and that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to go type in here 115 and click, and that gives me a pretty good solid. Now the name down here still has a bunch of fill in, so you can come over here to noise and pull this back all the way. Now it gives you a pretty decent of the logo. Now that font right there was a pretty basic font, and what I would probably do in this place is just to trace this out real quick, kill that, and put the font in there. Find a font that is similar to their font, and that one's a pretty basic Arial type font. It's not, would not be hard to find that one. The main thing we were going after is the 3 men with ties in the shape of an umbrella. Now you can mess with the other sliders and stuff like that. If I put the paths up, you see it gets kind of jagged. If I bring it down, it makes it really wonky. So it looks like that default 50% is pretty good on that. Now this one's default is 81, but by moving this back a little, so we'll go all the way down to there, it kind of crispens that up a little bit. You'll play with these settings on each individual image that you use this trace feature on to get the best results. Remember, you're just looking for a mask of the images of the logos. A lot of the times you can bring in the fonts. Sometimes they have crazy fonts that you can't mimic and you'll have to trace them. But for the most part, you can find a font out there that is close enough to theirs or their even font. A lot of businesses, if they've gone through a graphics artist, will have the name of the font they used. Sometimes you have to adjust the height or width to them a little bit, but you can find the fonts out there. So once you get to this part, it's still just a raster image. You have to use the expand key and tell it I want it to be a vector. Now, it is now a vector file. That is what the plotter is going to see, and you will be able to cut that image with or without the font in there. It is completely resizable, just like all other. Hold shift, it locks the constraints. But now you have a template that you can go and paint a nice logo on the side of their truck or trailer or whatever without having to try and use fine line masking tape to mimic that shape. And it'll be a lot crisper lines and more professional looking.